Cruising's a real popular way to travel these days for people that are over 50. And being the queen of convenience that I am, I really like it myself. You put your stuff in one place. You don't have to keep packing and unpacking as you go from place to place. And you can pick and choose what you want to do. I also like all the all-inclusive deals, so I don't feel like I'm being nickeled and dimed to death. I went on a cruise recently to the Black Sea about a month ago, and I had a blast. I really did. I had such a good time, I can't stand it. We started out in Istanbul, the only city in the world that's on two continents. The west side of the city is in Europe, and then you go over a bridge over the Bosphorus River and you're in Asia. It's still Istanbul, but you're on the Asia side of Istanbul. The other thing about Istanbul that stood out for me was the number of mosques. There's over 2,600 mosques in Istanbul. The next stop was in Bulgaria, and it was a really cute little seaport town, which was really like one street, but the architecture was really interesting. Next stop was my favorites, and they were all in the Ukraine. I've been there before, but I absolutely love it. The first stop was Odessa, and Odessa was kind of the cultural art center of the Ukraine, and the architecture is fabulous. I love architecture, interior and exterior, so it's fun for me. And the people were delightful. We went to one of the palaces, which was one of the Russian palaces, and even one of the opera singers from the music school came and entertained us, and it was really fun. And then the opera house in Odessa is glorious. It is absolutely magnificent. I loved it, absolutely loved it. Next stop was Sevastopol. And in Sevastopol, we took a tour that went up to a church and a monastery in the mountains. And I mean in the mountains. And we went up at least 4,600 feet above sea level. And then we had to walk some to get to the church. And it was just incredible to look at this and think, they built this thousands of years ago in this rock. The next city was Yalta, and we're still in the Ukraine. The architecture was just spectacular. And in Russian architecture, they make very complex designs, and the floors and the ceilings, the walls. I mean, there's a great deal of thought that goes into it, and it's just magnificent. Next stop was Sochi, Russia, and that's the port or the city where the 2014 Winter Olympics are to be held. And in Sochi, we went to a tea plantation. It was a wonderful education as well. Off to Trabzon, Turkey, and there it's the home of the Sumela Monastery. I refer to that trip as the hike from hell. It was amazing. I mean, this pathway to get there was long, uphill. It was terrible. You look down and you're on a high cliff and there's no barrier. So if you fall, you're dead. We didn't fall. Nobody I knew fell on the trip, so that was a good thing. So you get there, and this is a monastery that's built into caves. They had painted the interiors of the caves, the roofs or the ceilings, and the walls all as biblical scenes, and a lot of it was still there, and some of it was being restored. I'm glad I got to see it. And then we spent a few days in Athens, and that was fascinating. I mean, it's a big, big city full of ruins in different parts of the city, and you can pretty much see the Acropolis from all parts of the city. And we did make the hike up to the Acropolis. From the ground level, before you started the climb, it looked really daunting, but it wasn't near as bad as going to the Sumela Monastery. So it turned out to be much easier than it appeared, and absolutely fascinating. And when you're up there, you just look at the structures and you think, how in the world did they do this so many years ago? The other thing about the Acropolis is, I don't know if it is the highest point in Athens, but it certainly seems to be, because you had this panoramic view of Athens. It was just astonishing. It was really, really amazing. I loved it. I've been on several cruises, and most of them I've booked through my travel agent, who's wonderful. So I would encourage you to develop a relationship with your travel agent, to tell them if you have limitations, what they are. Do you need to go in a wheelchair? There's trips geared to people with all kinds of different disabilities or limitations. So this is just one way that people can continue to do, even though they have some limitations. And of course, we would encourage all people to make life enjoyable and do those things that you can do. So, now you know. See our next episode for more interesting insights and information about life after 50.